Hey everyone, hope you're doing good. We're continuing our reading of the wonderful book, The Art of Power. It's very good. Let's continue. We are on page 126. Patty enlisted James Madison's mother, Eleanor Conway Madison. Oh, look at that! So now we know the name of James Madison's mom. To help as well. Miss Washington has done me the honor of communicating the enclosed proposition of our sisters in Pennsylvania, and of informing me that the same grateful sentiments are displaying themselves in Maryland, Patty wrote. Justified by the sanction of her letter and handing forward the scheme, I undertake with cheerfulness the duty of furnishing to my countrywomen an opportunity of providing that they also participate of those virtuous feelings which gave birth to it. So she wants to include women. That's good. The soldiers needed what they could get, for the Revolutionary War was about to come south with ferocity. In Baltimore, Thomas Nelson unsuccessfully tried to take a cheerer view. Could we but get a good regular army, we should soon clear the continent of these damn invaders. Who's this guy? Thomas Nelson? Never heard of him. So he really wants the British out, doesn't he? Nelson had written Jefferson in January 1777, "They play the very devil with the girls, and even old women, to satisfy their libidinous appetites. There is scarcely a virgin to be found in the part of the country that they have passed through." Oh my goodness. Talk about an intense thing to say. The sense of threat was constant. Well, we have that now. We have a constant threat of, if you start hearing the chanting, how long before some burning and property damage happens, and everybody's whose cars are parked on the street, you immediately start panicking. So we definitely have a threat going on. Both sides threatening each other, to be fair. We have pretty certain intelligence that a considerable reinforcement, the N. York papers of the 1st of May, say 8,000 men, will be sent over immediately. A correspondent wrote Jefferson in May 1779, and if so, there will no doubt be an active campaign, which is generally supposed will be chiefly confined to the southern states, where we are the most vulnerable, and from thence the enemy can more easily withdraw their troops to the West Indies if occasion should require it. I wonder why they're examining why the enemy would withdraw from there easily. So maybe it's like a strategy. Amid rising concerns over British designs to invade and subjugate Virginia as critical element in London's bid to defeat the American rebellion and restore order in the empire, Thomas Jefferson was elected governor of Virginia. Okay, let's remember Thomas Jefferson was a governor of Virginia, succeeding Patrick Henry as chief executive. In accepting the post, Jefferson was explicit about the significance he saw in the good opinion of the public. He had a good opinion of the public. Today, I don't think I would as much. In a virtuous and free state, no rewards can be so pleasing to sensible minds as those which include the approbation of our fellow citizens, Jefferson wrote. His great pain, he said, was the fear that my poor endeavors should fall short of the kind of expectations of my country. Wow, so he's trying his hardest, essentially, to try to live up to the new idea, their ideal of what they put forth. The balloting had pitted John Page against Jefferson. In the first round, Jefferson led 55 to 38. Oh, that's not too bad. And Thomas Nelson had 32. In a runoff between Jefferson and Page, Jefferson won 67 to 61. That's close. That's a close one. After 2 decades of friendship, Jefferson and John Page were compelled to explain themselves to each other, pledging that neither harbored any of what Page called low, dirty feelings over the gubernatorial election. Well, hopefully not. They can run against each other, they can disagree, but they shouldn't let it go to the next level, right? Page had been unable to see Jefferson since the balloting and scheduled to be away from Williamsburg for a brief time. He wanted the new governor to understand he was not avoiding such a meeting, I can assure you that were it not for the world who may put a wrong construction on my conduct, I should scarcely trouble you with this apology, Page told Jefferson on Wednesday, June 2nd, 1779. I really like how he includes dates. Remember over here, May 1779, January 1777. He really hits you with, like, the dates. Jefferson replied that it had given me much pain that the zeal of our respective friends should ever have placed you and me in the situation of competitors. It was comforted, however, with the reflection that it was their competition, not ours, and that the difference of the numbers which decided between us was too insignificant to give you a pain or me pleasure, had our dispositions toward each other been such as to have admitted those sensations. Dispositions and sensations. By pointing out the narrowness of the margin between the two, Jefferson was trying to soothe his friend's feelings. But he knew that no one likes to come up short in any contest. Picking up on Page's allusion to the opinions of others, Jefferson sought to create a sense of unbreaking camaraderie with his friend. I know you too well to need an apology for anything you do, and hope you will be forever assured of this. And as to the constructions of the world, they would only have added to the many signs for which they are to go to the devil. This is interesting because he really seems to be going out of his way, Jefferson, to make it to where they are not like eternal enemies. They ran against each other, fought a good campaign. He wants to comfort the loser. Can really show you a lot about his character right there. However kind the two men were to each other, though, the contest had still been a contest. With one winner and one loser, Jefferson, who knew how he would have felt had the results been reversed, and who hated such tensions, moved to assuage Page. As this is the first, so I hope it will be the last instance of ceremony between us, he wrote. Instance of ceremony. I mean, when he got sworn in, right, it was a bit of a ceremony, so there you go. Make sure it didn't skip. Yeah, here we go. Adding that Mrs. Page Company in Williamsburg would be one of the only consolations for Patty. Oh, so they can have a friend when she came to the capital. That's cute. The politicians' wives getting along. Jefferson wanted familiar faces around him, people he could trust as he assumed his post. You definitely want your A-team with you. Isaac Granger Jefferson recalled riding down to Williamsburg in a wagon. James Hemings, Robert Hemings, and Martin Hemings came too. What are these, all three brothers? Governor Jefferson was to serve for 2 years, from June 1779 until June 1781. Okay, let's bracket that. He was to preside over the destiny of his beloved Virginia at a time when the future of everything he cared about was at risk. Chapter 12, A Troublesome Office. There's a quote here. They certainly mean another campaign, a last effort, as Georgia and South Carolina, with the frontiers and sea-coasts, appear to be their objects at present. Richard Henry Lee on British Military Plans, 1779. Okay, so he's saying right there, like, they're coming back, man. They're coming for the hoorah. This quote's from Thomas Jefferson. I am thoroughly satisfied that the attachment of the people to the cause in which we are engaged, and their hatred to Great Britain, remain unshaken. Thomas Jefferson amid rising military pressures from the British. Hatred for Britain. Now the next one. They formed in line and marched up to the palace with drums beating. It was an awful sight. Seemed like the day of judgment was come. Isaac Granger Jefferson, describing the British attack on Richmond, January 1781. Wow, so they're like do 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 with their drums. I wonder what it sounded like. In Williamsburg, the royal governor palace of Thomas Jefferson's youth, that enormous residence on the green, with its elaborate gardens, was to be his. Hardly 20 years had passed since Jefferson had been a fortunate guest of Francis Fauquier's, dining and talking and listening and playing music, a student in the presence of greater, more learned, and more powerful men. So, Notice, a student of the more powerful men didn't resent those who were above. Learn and value some of the confidants they can give you in the networking. Hating them will not lower them, essentially. We must learn. We should read more in the future about Fauquier, because apparently he had quite an impression on Jefferson.